Oh boy, time now for another exciting episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics. What? Didn't really read any new comics at all. No. I have been reading some old Savage Sword of Conan. I highly recommend those. I might do a thing on that. Intend to do a thing on Secret Wars and all that sort of stuff. And eventually get back to the Hobgoblin comics and that sort of thing. But speaking of that, here's a little article from my favorite go-to site, Cosmic Book News, about what else? Comic books. So Dan Slott, that's right, he's back on Spider-Man. He came back to it. But there appears to be some trouble. So he warns new Spider-Man comic could end by issue 5. So while DC is topping the comic book sales charts with its Absolute line, Marvel Comics writers are now reduced to begging fans and retailers to order their books that are tied to the MCU movies. Oh, is that the deal? So he's not writing it in continuity. His Spider-Man comic book is connected to the MCU. Now, some of these can be okay and kind of fun, but they almost never matter. It's like, you better read this to be ready for the movie. It never really applies. It means nothing. But individually, they could be all right, you know. So, yeah. Anyway. It comes after Tom Brevoort's comments, which further highlight how out of touch Marvel's leadership has become. Yeah, I heard a bit about that. Well, I'll take a look at that in a bit. But anyway, Dan Slott is now publicly pleading with fans and retailers to support his new Spider-Man comic, Spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day, obviously tied to the upcoming movie release this summer, warning the book could be dead by issue 5 if readers don't show up. Marvel recently canceled the Imperial line with their 5th and 6th issues in a video making the rounds online. Watch below. Well, maybe later, but not on my channel. Slott directly asks fans to put the series on their pull list and urges comic shops not to treat it like just another Marvel launch. He says issue 1 will get ordered because it's a first issue, but stresses he needs support on issue number 2 and beyond. He also warns that if readers don't back the later issues, the book could disappear by the 5th issue. So I guess that's like the cutoff mark these days. Anyway, Marvel recently canceled plans for Dan Abnett's Imperial Guardians as an ongoing series before the first issue was even released, reducing it to only 5 issues instead. So I guess, yeah, that's the deal, you know. So anyway, Slott's comments stand out because they sound less like confidence and more like concern. He says fans who enjoyed his Spider-Man run should order the book now, then turns to retailers and says he needs them on issue number 2. Slott adds that too many books get all the attention at launch, only for readers and shops to move on right after the first issue. That tells you Marvel knows a flashy issue number 1 doesn't mean much if the numbers fall apart right after, which are often inflated by loads of variant covers and Marvel's new blind bag gimmick. Slott also points to a bigger problem at Marvel. According to him, Marvel books are effectively lined up in short windows, and if the support isn't there for issues number 2 and issue number 3, the series may not survive past issue number 5. That says a lot about the current state of Marvel Comics, where even major characters and recognizable creators apparently need to beg readers for support. Spider-Man should not be a hard sell, yet here we are. Guess it's already taken down. Anyway, the bigger issue is that Marvel keeps leaning on relaunches, gimmicks, and short-term sales tactics instead of giving readers a reason to stay. Fans might check out a debut, but many are clearly not sticking around. They're also not interested in MCU adaptations. Well, there you go. See, it's a double whammy on this thing because that's, it's out of continuity. Now, to be fair, most of the only things from Marvel that I'll read is out of continuity stories. The regular stuff, I just can't stand it. Every now and then there'll be something. Moon Knight was kind of good for a while. Then the current Hulk thing looks good, but I think I'm just going to get the trades on that one. It took too long to get to where it is now, that sort of thing. But the rest of them, just the premise and synopsis of them, man. I tried to dip into Spider-Man a while back. Oh boy, it was so bad. And just can't do it. That's too much damage. DC has had its troubles and has done a lot of stupid things, but they're nowhere near as bad as what Marvel did to it. So, and this recent return to Ultimate Universe, well, that was exciting at first, and then, Absolute, it's done better. Not without its own issues, but nevertheless, it's done a lot better. But, But anyway, this is a hard sell just for a movie tie-in. Like I said, most of those, they don't go anywhere. They can be good, but it's still going to be a hard sell. And it probably should just be a special. Not like he wants it to be an ongoing thing. I don't know how many issues it's supposed to be. 5 sounds like already too much. Anyway, so when a long-time Marvel reader is openly telling readers and retailers to keep the book alive past the first issue, it comes off like another sign Marvel Comics has a retention problem. Getting fans to buy issue number 1 is easy, but keeping them through issue 5 is the real test. Okay, there's the art, and look, he's dealing with Kingpin. Will he encounter Kingpin in the movie? Probably not, though. Okay, Slot's plea feels like Marvel sees the drop-off coming, because that's what keeps happening. How many times are he talks about the gimmicks they do? That's true. They've been doing that for a couple of decades now. A healthy Spider-Man comic usually sells itself. That's right. A writer going out and asking fans to order now and warning shops not to ease up after the debut suggests there is real concern about what happens once the launch hype wears off. That is not exactly a great sign for confidence. It's not a sign of confidence at all. Now, this is a cool scene from the movie where they pay homage to the original Spider-Man cover, Amazing Fantasy. So that's nice. Yeah. Anyway, back in 2019, Kevin Feige took control of all Marvel, including Marvel Comics. Yeah, I know. I remember that. And people thought, hey, maybe they'll correct things and right the ship and stuff. No. Brevoort recently made things even clearer when he said the comics now serve as creative fodder for film and animation development. Yeah, that's another mistake Feige and them make. Relying on current Marvel comics. You've got decades of what built Marvel into what it became. You should be adapting those. You can move them into current times and stuff and what have you. But those stories and plots and character development is where the success is at. Not that recent stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that says it all. Yeah, it's just an idea form, and they're not really good ideas, so they should just be doing reprints, really. The out-of-continuity stories are your best bet as far as new comics, but even this Dan Slott's little MCU comic, it might be pretty good. I don't know. The art looks kind of stale. It's all right, but nothing spectacular, even though it's called Spectacular Spider-Man. Anyway, so yeah, the out of continuity is your best bet. And then reprints. You really need to be churning that up. because that's all they got. So Marvel Comics used to help inspire the movies in the MCU. Now the books feel like they answer to film executives who don't understand comics and don't seem to care much about them either. Well, yeah, but Marvel Comics ruined itself long before this whatever began. So, yeah. Marvel Comics should be its own creative force, not a farm system for Hollywood. The books need freedom to breathe, create, and build stories for comics fans first. Yeah, well, don't worry, because Hollywood isn't doing all that great either. And as far as the MCU, it looks like those days are numbered. Yeah. Even if Avengers Doomsday is the big hit of the summer, and it probably will be. Well, okay, Spider-Man Brand New Day will probably be the real big hit. I don't know. And then Secret Wars, and then after that, then what? So that's 3 movies. Hey, we're back, baby. And everybody will show up for the next, I guess they'll roll out X-Men. I don't know. But if you keep doing the same crap that derailed it, and you've ran off a lot of talent. Yeah, I don't know. As for the comics, well, similar thing. You ran off a lot of talent there, too. So, yeah, it doesn't look good for Marvel Comics. So, yeah, it's, you gotta beg, please read my Spider-Man comic, please. It's Spider-Man, Shouldn't be that hard, but it is. I wonder what happened. Oh, yeah, right, yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah. Meanwhile, you've got this Transformers comic book. Now, I have no interest in Transformers or G.I. Joe, but what Robert Kirkman's been doing with these titles, I have seen on other channels that cover comics, and doing it very well, apparently. Had a lot of surprises crossing over Transformers with G.I. Joe and so on. And the readers really loved it. Yeah. But it looks like there's now trouble on the horizon. So, and again, I have no interest. I have interest in the comic book industry and whatnot. So that's my interest here. But got to have something else for this episode. So I'll look at this. But anyway, Transformers replaces Optimus Prime with Elita 1 as new leader. Robot Girl Boss. Now, they're robots who turn into cars and jets and stuff. So but they gotta have a female. Yeah. Okay. Following the news that Robert Kirkman gender swapped Tech Jacket in Invincible. Okay. Now it's learned in Kirkman's Transformers, and that's his own creation, Invincible, Transformers comics, that Optimus Prime is no longer leading the Autobots and has been replaced by Elita 1. In Skybound's Transformers number 30, the issue ends with Optimus Prime giving up the matrix of leadership to Elita 1, who is upgraded into Elita Prime and takes command. So, no more Autobots. Roll out. The issue also makes clear that Optimus drops the Prime title after surrendering the Matrix. It's a major shake-up for the Energon universe, especially because this isn't some fake-out death or temporary battlefield loss. So she beat him. Oh, there you go. You are no longer fit to lead. Yes, right. Yes, Queen Slay, girl boss. Optimus willingly steps aside after Elita 1 challenges him over his decision to keep the Autobots focused on protecting Earth instead of returning to Cybertron. Rather than continue the fight, he hands over the Matrix, and the Autobots split into 2 sides. Oh, that ought to work out, According to the current issue details, Elita argues that Optimus has lost sight of the Autobots' real mission by putting Earth ahead of Cybertron. After their clash, Optimus agrees that his choices may be hurting the war effort, surrenders the Matrix, and Elita is transformed into Elita Prime. Several Autobots choose to leave with her for Cybertron, while others stay behind on Earth with Optimus. That means the Autobots are now split, with Elita Prime leading one side and Optimus remaining on Earth without the title that defined him and minus the matrix of leadership. The change is also getting attention from fans online for another reason. As one ex-user pointed out, if Optimus is no longer a Prime, a lot of Transformers fans think he should go back to being called Orion Pax, which is the character's original name before becoming Optimus Prime in classic lore due to the Matrix. Whoops! I guess they forgot about that little nugget, you know? Well, yes, these male extraterrestrial sentient robots are now being replaced by female extraterrestrial sentient. Yeah, you see, there's going to be a problem here for that sort of stuff. The complaint taps into a bigger issue some readers have with the new direction. It's not just that Elita 1 replaces him as leader. It's that the comic appears to strip away the Prime identity without fully leaning into what that should mean for the character. It's as if the creatives behind the series aren't familiar with the lore, or they are and just don't care for the sake of diversity. This is all happening in the current Skybound run of Transformers, which is now being written by The Walking Dead and Invincible creator Robert Kirkman, with art by Dan Mora, starting with issue 25. Skybound is in partnership with Hasbro. Skybound, in partnership with Hasbro, took over the Transformers and G.I. Joe comic license after IDW lost it, and Kirkman has been a central architect of the larger Energon universe. Well, a lot of what I heard sounded pretty positive and good. And I mean, look, if it's a gimmicky thing like they always do, and then eventually this doesn't work out, and she's destined to become a villain, or at least having to admit, well, I had this all wrong. We need Optimus back. And that's how it goes. In the woke era, that's impossible. You can't do that. You certainly can't have, I guess, a female, they're robots, I don't know, character having to admit a man was right. You know, you just can't do that. But if that's what it is, and there's some other overall arc and narrative to it, and the Autobots come back together, and hey, both Earth and Cybertron are important, or something like that, and that's how they play it out, I suppose. And he just has to hope that you've garnered enough respect and loyalty from your fan base. However, due to the irradiated landscape, thanks to the woke era, anything, however perhaps unfair, anything that has any hint of wokeness, you get a whiff of that, and everybody stays away. It's the kind of thing that, despite how successful it's been, might derail what he's put together. Now, you got to stop gender swaps. You got to stop race swaps. And all. Now here it's robots, but it is the case of the woman beats the man and becomes the new leader. And all that. And in the midst of it, you don't even understand, apparently, the basic lore of the story. That he can't have the name Optimus Prime anymore. He's given up the title. So, whoopsie. But I suppose they can correct it later. I don't know. So anyway, there we go. See? Now the new Prime has sexy curves. Yeah. You get that, you know? So, I mean, good Lord, after a successful run, then all of a sudden, in this late hour, you're going to pull a stunt like this. Now, for Invincible, maybe that's Amazon wants that. You got to have another female character because we've got our quota and whatnot, or what have you. And that's what happened there. I don't know. But for your comic book series that you control and whatnot. And of course, when it was at IDW, they were flooding that with woke crap too. I mean, I think they had a non-binary robot or something that Well, it's a robot. What? So he could turn into a jet and a car. I don't know. But anyway, it's really late in the hour to play with this type of stuff, and it can be lethal to your property. So maybe it's a brief thing and just a story arc deal they're going to run with, but I can understand people being upset and thinking, well, it was fun while it lasted, and move on to something else. It's a possibility. I don't know. But anyway, best of luck to all of that. I'm not a fan of it and all that. It's just interesting that this sort of thing happens even now, when you should know this sort of thing by now, but I don't know. Well, this is where my creative vision led me, and I'm sure. Okay. But, I don't know. You're taking an awful risk, Kirkman. But anyway, that's it for this episode of Wednesday Comics. Hopefully I'll have something for you next time, and we'll visit again with whatever I come up with, next Wednesday.